Bais. 36b. See it over there? 36b?
Yeah, we have it. Now we have it. I would buy it. I would buy it.
All right. A makasha, a woman that is having labor pains and she sees blood. Nidda. She's tummy nidda. We'll see what that means. I'm just going to say it means she's tummy for one day. Doesn't sound like that, but
1 day.
that's it. 1 day. We'll see specifically what's going on. Let's say she has labor pains for 3 days during the 11 days of Ziva. Remember we spoke about that. There's 7 days of Nidda and then 11 of Nidda. So if she sees 3 days during those 11 days, but she's having labor pains during those days that she's seeing. So Visafsa, but then she rested from the labor pains. The blood is still going, but she rested. So, or it doesn't matter if the blood is there actually. The main thing is that she rested from the pain. She had relief. Yolda, and she gave birth. After 24 hours, that's a regular zava. She gave birth during Zayv. Why is that? You see, what we're doing here is we're saying that, this is an example. There's blood that comes from a woman that's tahar after she gives birth, right? After the 14 days, there's blood. It's called tamtaya. Well, turns out that there's another type of blood that's also tahar, and that's blood that comes during the birth. The birth causes her to be tameh, the birth itself, but the blood during the birth doesn't necessarily make her tameh. It depends. Blood during the labor, it doesn't make her tameh. Now, what does it depend on? Well, it depends that if all the blood is from the labor, then she's going to be tar. We have to see exactly which time, if it's during the Nidda or the Ziva time. But so far we're learning during the Ziva time, if there's blood there that comes during labor, that blood doesn't make her tameh. The only restriction, the only limitation there is that if it goes from labor pains straight to birth, then she remains tar. But if there's any respite, any relief from the labor in between the labor and the birth, then we say that the blood that came during labor was really regular zava. You see, this is not a continuation of the labor to the birth because she had 24 hours of release. So that says that the original blood is really tameh, is a regular zava. So that was false labor. That's what we're saying. Safsa means it was false labor. That's would be the term.
So this is Is this an exception to the rule that blood from the woman makes it tameh?
Yeah, it's an exception. We'll see. We'll learn from Sukkim shortly. Yeah. So, Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. These are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer. This is the Rabbi Eliezer that we spoke about at the beginning of the Masechta. That's Rabbi Lisbon Horkinus. He argues with Rabbi Yeshua. The two of them carry Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Laila v'yoyim, Kaleli Shabbos v'yoyim. It's not a 24-hour period like Rabbi Eliezer says. It has to be a day the way we celebrate Shabbos a day. That means that we need a night and a day, not from 2 p.m. today to 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's not gonna work. You need that's the term that he uses. It's Kaleli Shabbos v'yoyim. I need like a Shabbos day. Okay. That seems to be just a translation of the word safsa. That when we discuss relief, we're talking about pain and not blood, because the blood that doesn't affect us. Kami kishuya. How long during the 9th month can she claim that it was labor pains and that she shouldn't be tameh? So Reb Meir says it can go back 40 and 50 days. So this is back into the 8th month. She can claim labor pains during the 40 and 50 days. They have Braxton Hicks contractions. It's not fake. It's contractions. It just doesn't lead to labor. Rabbi Yehuda says Daya Chodcha, the 9th month. That's it. Rabbi Yossi, Reb Shimon, remain Kishiyas and Mishtei Shabbasis. Rabbi Yossi and Reb Shimon. Oh, we mamash have all the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva here. Reb Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi and Reb Shimon. We're just missing Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon.
Didn't it like 40,000?
Yeah, those we don't know. 24,000.
Missing a few.
Those we don't know the names. I think we don't know the names. But the last 5, the Gemara discusses. Okay. So En Kisha Yosim Mishtei Shabbasis, they say that there's only 2 weeks. You can remember this if you want, because the Mem from Meir is 40. And Rabbi Yehuda is Daya. Sounds like Yehuda. Daya. That's almost half his name in there. And Rabbi Yossi and Reb Shimon is 2. It's 2 weeks. Okay. The Gemara asks the question. Atu Halamakshe Nidahi. We're asking on the Mishnah. Mishnah says anyone that's has labor pains is a Nidda. Talking about there's blood there. But is she going to be a Nidda? Let's say she sees the blood during Ziva. There's no Nidda during Ziva. Amar Rav. Rav says Nidda liyayma. She's a Nidda for 1 day, and what we're trying to say is that it doesn't extend. If she would be a Zava, then the following day she would need to wait to see if she sees the 2nd day blood. The rule by a Zava, we always said, if she sees 3 days, she has to wait 7 days, 7 clean days. Mm-hmm. But that's only if it's 3 days. We didn't really discuss if she sees 1 day or if she sees 2 days. What is that? So that's called Shemeres Yom Keneged Yom. She has to wait 1 day corresponding to the day that she saw, and she goes to the mikvah on that day. And she waits till evening before she's supposed to wait till evening before she has relations. Rav says, if a woman sees blood, she shouldn't have relations that day. But the following day she's fine. She's in the middle of labor. And during labor she shouldn't have relations, not because of the labor, because of the blood. But it's just that day that she saw the blood. You see what's happening here is there's a concern. What's going to happen with this blood? Is there going to be relief from the labor pains? It's going to go back and tell me that it's real, that it's regular blood, that it's not. So Rav is saying you don't have to have that concern that you should have to wait another day. Just that day is enough. Okay. Shmuel says no. You have to be concerned that maybe there's going to be relief from the labor pains, which is going to tell me retroactively that blood that you saw before was Ziva blood, and therefore she should have waited an extra day before she has relations, because as Zava waits 1 extra day to see if there's going to be a continuation of the blood. It's called Shemeres Yom Keneged Yom. Shmuel says you have to wait for that just in case she doesn't give birth tomorrow or the next day without. And Rabbi Yitzchak says, "Hamakashe in a klum." Nothing. She's pure. This blood is pure. Gemara right away asks on Rabbi Yitzchak, "V'aktani hamakashe nida." What are you saying? She's pure. It said that she's a nida. You look at the first word of the Mishnah. Rava comes along and explains, "Imei nida is nida. Imei ziva is tahira." It depends when she's giving birth and when she's having these labor pains, which part of the month it is. If she's during the nida days, then she's a nida. That's what our Mishnah was discussing. But that's the first words of the Mishnah. But Bimei Ziva, she's entirely tar, and Rabbi Yitzchak was talking about Bimei Ziva during the 11 days. If she has labor pains with blood, considered nothing. V'hatanya, and we have a brisa that will prove this. What we just did here was we had Rav, Shmuel, Rav and Shmuel are the first generation of Miriam and Babel, and I believe Rabbi Yitzchak is from Eretz Yisrael. I think it's a Rabbi Yitzchak. That's the one over there. And we had Rava down here explaining Rabbi Yitzchak's opinion by saying it depends when during the month it is. And now we're going to have a brisa. I'm going back to bring a source, what Rabbi Yitzchak is saying from a brisa, from a Tanaic source. Now, V'hatanya could be a question, or V'hatanya could be a proof. Because the word V'ha in Aramaic could mean in this, and it could also mean in but.
And what?
But however, but however. So that it becomes a compound word, V'hatanya. So Rashi will usually tell you that V'ha, this V'hatanya is benichusa, means it's not read as a question, it's read straight, not as a question. But really what's happening is the word V'ha has two translations. It could mean, but we learned in a brisa, or it could mean, and this is exactly what we learned in a brisa. Okay, so here it means, and this is what we learned in a brisa. Hamakasha b'mei Nidda, the woman is having labor pains during the days of Nidda. She's Nidda, regular blood.
Yeah, this whole case is a little funny.
Oh no, women, I mean, they're not supposed to, but it happens that they bleed a little bit during pregnancy.
Not unless
It's not a period, but this blood makes her tummy.
unless she's having some sort of regular cycle during her pregnancy. Why would we even suspect it to me? But why would we not assume it's zero blood? Zero by definition is blood that happens outside of the cycle.
You're right. She must have been seeing before. You're right. Otherwise, it would have been, unless according to the Rambam, unless you go according to it's machlekes the Rambam. According to the Rambam, it's not a problem because the Rambam says that once she gets her cycle, from the beginning of her life until the end, it's just 7/11, 7/11, 7/11. It's set on the calendar, and you can just do, like on Google Calendar, you could say recurring appointment. You just do it forever. Like until when? You just do like forever. That's the Rambam's.
It's not interrupted by pregnancy.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen with pregnancy and birth. The Rambam doesn't.
Okay. The whole thing doesn't really apply to it. But this whole Gemara, if the question should be, Hamakasha Ziva, not Hamakasha Nidda. I don't quite understand how.
Makasha is a woman that sees blood is a Nidda. According to Rabbi Yitzchak,
it should be a Zava. A Nidda is someone who has a regular cycle of some sort.
No, but what
Nidda blood is Nidda blood is blood that flows as part of the woman's normal cycle. Ziva blood is blood that flows outside of the normal cycle.
Right.
You mean a woman who has irregular periods has no need of blood?
That she has irregular cycle.
It's not called Nidda. She's not in Nidda.
No, she has an irregular cycle. So in that situation, you won't be able to every 28 days, but whenever the next round would come, whether it's 22 days, 31 days, whatever, that's just she's irregular. Yeah, so you're right.
You're looking at it too physical.
Okay.
We're discussing it halachically. Not like what type of period this is, like why is this happening?
No,
we're talking about what's the halacha.
But what would be the difference?
Halacha comes from physical.
No, but
what reality?
No, reality comes through the Torah.
But what would be the difference if the Mishnah? What would be the difference if the Mishnah said Hamakasha Ziva?
So what that would have meant was that she's tummy for 2 days, according to Rabbi Yitzchak, instead of 1 day. And the way we just translate is Nidda means that she's just tummy for that day, which is a chiddush because usually Nidda means 7 days. But anyway, this Mishnah is so ambiguous. However, Bimei Ziva, this is where we're holding. Bimei Ziva, she's tahira. If she sees during the days of Ziva, then she's totally tar. Ketzad. Kashta Yomi Echad. if she has labor pains for 1 day, v'safsa shnayim, and it lets up for 2 days before she gives birth, or she has labor pains for 2 days, and it lets up for 1 day. Whatever it is an interruption between the pains and the birth with some relief for a day or two. Or she has relief. I don't know what that means. First she has relief, and then she has labor pains. The chazra, the safsa, and after the labor pains, it lets up again. And all the blood that she saw, even during the pain, goes back and is considered zayt. Excuse me, sorry. Abel safsa yemechad, but if she lets up for 1 day, if she has relief, the kashtash time, and then she has pain for 2 days, and then she gives birth directly next to that pain. If she has relief for 2 days, and she has pain for 1 day, or she has pain, relief, and then pain, whatever it is, the pain is connected to the birth. This is not considered that she gave birth during Ziva. Why? Because the pain was connected to the birth. It's considered like regular birth. It's considered like dam kushi, the blood that comes from labor pain, not blood from Ziva. Only if there's relief between the pain and the birth will it be considered regular zava, regular tumah blood. Klali shaldavar, the rule is kushi samach laleda. If there's labor pain that's directly next to the birth, then this is not considered giving birth during days of impurity. But shufi samach laleda, if there's relief before the birth, then this is considered the blood that she had before the relief, 24 hours ago or a day ago. That's considered Ziva blood. Chananya ben Achi Rabbi Yeshua Imer. Chananya, the nephew of Rabbi Yeshua's brother's son. He said, remember we had him before, where someone said, bring your nephew to me because he's paskening a certain way, and then Rabbi Yeshua said, don't worry, he's relying on me because his wife said, or not his wife, the nephew's wife or something. He says, Kol shechalti shuya b'shlishi shela, afilu kol yom kuli b'shufi, ein zu yiledes b'zayt. He has an interesting opinion. He says that if the 3rd day of Ziva has labor pains on it, the 3rd day is the critical day for the woman, because that's the day that she becomes a Zava Gedola. She sees once, she's a Zava Ketana. The 2nd time, she's still a Zava Ketana. That means she only waits 1 extra day to see if it's going to continue. The 3rd day is the critical day. That's when she becomes a Zava Gedola, where she has to wait 7 clean days. If she has labor pains on that 3rd day, even if it's just for a moment, and the rest of the day is relief, so she doesn't become a Zava Gedola. Okay. I'm sorry. Kloli shel davar la'asuyei mai. When we said that, here's the rule. What are we coming to include whenever we say here's the rule? You say, what do you mean? If you gave me all the details, why do you then have to say the rule? So if you give the rule, then you don't have to give the details. So kloli shel davar la'asuyei, what are you coming to include? La'asuyei de chananya. We're coming to bring the case of Hananya and reject it. Lasuyi means to bring it, but you have to add in the word. We're bringing it to reject it. We're saying that we're not accepting Hananya. Hananya says that if there's any drop of pain on the 3rd day, she's going to be tar. We say no. It depends when the birth is. It depends on if there's relief before the birth for 24 hours, then she's tummy. It doesn't matter if there was pain on the 3rd day. Minani Mili. What's the source? From where are these words that we just made up? Not made up. That we have the tradition. We just introduced this new concept that sometimes the blood is pure. Where's this from? The Tana Rabbanan was taught in the Bais. The Bais quotes a pasuk referring to a woman that has a flow of blood that's not in her regular cycle. It's called ziva. And the pasuk says, Dama, the isha ki yazov zayv dama, a woman that the blood will flow. And it says her blood will flow. Her blood. What do you have to say? You could just say blood will flow. You say her blood. What's that? Possessive pronoun. So dama machmas atzma b'lei machmas blood. The blood has to be from her, not from the offspring.
So how do you know if it's not from the blood? How do you recognize where the blood comes from?
So the way we said it is if there's labor pains during the bleeding, then it's from the blood. Ata imer machmas blood. You say that the exception here is because of the blood, the offspring. Blood means an offspring. Maybe it's telling you that she's not tummy if there was some stimulus that made her bleed. I don't know what the stimulus could be by a woman, but whatever it is, maybe that's tahar, not the. But of blood would be tummy. I mean, how do you know? It says machmas atzma from her own dama, her blood. It's coming to exclude something, but how do you know it's the blood? So kishuaymer isha ki yazav zayv dama hariyana summer. We already said a woman that has a flow will have a flow. We already discussed that she's tummy if there was stimulus for the flow. Amani makayim dama. So then, what am I going to do with the word? Dama machmas atzma machmas v'lang. It's coming to tell me that not from labor. Mari yisrael savlad tami bainas. But what made you choose when you had a limit to say something is tummy, and you had another limit, you had a way of teaching that something is tahar, that's pure? Why do you choose that the child, the offspring blood, the labor blood is tahar, and stimulus is tummy? Do it the other way. Mar explains, Metarani blood, she's tara. When it comes to an offspring, I say no, that's where there should be tara. Because when after a woman gives birth, there's days of purity. So during the birth, there's also purity. We see that that's the time when there's purity blood. So it fits more into that category. What is this thing with Einus? There was a stimulus that caused the blood. There's no tara. So only by a birth is there tara. Is there purity blood? Umar says, 1 second, Rabbi. On the contrary, when it comes to a man can also be a zav. Doesn't have blood that flows, but he has a mission. So over there, if there's stimulus that caused it, it's not considered zav. That's what we learned. It says you see that oina stimulus makes it tahar. It's not tahar, but it's not zav. It makes it not a zav. So therefore, by a woman as well, we should say that it's tahar if there's stimulus. It says 1 second. You're mixing. What do they say? Chalent with barsh. Mixing. Yeah, we're talking about a woman, and a woman doesn't have that whole scenario isn't applicable, and you're telling me stories about stimulus by a man. It's not, that doesn't affect what we're talking about. Okay, we don't find by a woman that any stimulus would ever make her tar. The Gemara means. Be by Yisema. Want? It also say. By Yisema, we have another shot. My daita. What was your intention? With Tehure, the Einus, you wanted to say that an Einus is Tameh, is Tahar, or Tmei Bablad, and to make it Tameh by an offspring, by a labor. Is that not stimulus? You're not going to get away with saying that Einus is going to be Tahar, and in a labor's stimulus is going to be tar, and labor is going to be tameh, and say that labor isn't a stimulus for the blood. you're anyways going to be under the same category of Tara. So the only thing that I can say this Tahar and still have something remaining Tameh is if I do the other way. If I say that the specific stimulus of labor is Tahar, but any other stimulus would be Tameh. Otherwise, I would have to have labor going under the category of stimulus and would be Tahar. Because I can get that detail out and make it Tahar and leave everything else Tameh perfectly fine. But I can't do it the other way and then exclude that detail. Yachi, if that's the case, that you have these psukim, says Dama, the possessive pronoun her blood. I can do the same thing by Nidda. Yachi Nidda Nami name a Zaiva. By Nidda, he uses the word Ziva. Don't get confused over there. It uses the word of flow. Zav means to flow. So, but it's referring to Nidda. It says Damiya Zaiva Bibsara. Blood will flow in her flesh. That's the pasuk that it says by Nidda. It says Zaiva Machmas Atzma Machmas Vlad. It says the flow must be that it comes from her, not from the offspring, not from the labor. Why are you telling me that only Ziva has Tara of labor if it comes during labor? By Nidda also, I have the same psukim. I could do the same. It's not the same psukim, but I have the same pronouns that I could have the same labor. At Aimer Vlad. You're telling me that it's the offspring. Maybe it's going to be any stimulus should be Tara. We go through the same story. So you already know that stimulus is Tameh. Amani Makayim Zaiva. So what am I going to do with the Zaiva? Zaiva Machmasatz, Machmasvan. It's a rather long question, but basically the same point. That maybe Nidda should also be Tar. Amarish Lakish. Lakish says, Amar Kra Teshe. When a woman gives birth and it says that she's Tahar, it says that she sits. And the Gemara says from that, Yesh Lacha Yeshiva Achereshi Kazu. And there is another sitting which is like this. Ve'ezu and others. There isn't. What we learn from Teshe is that she sits, is that we know that there is one other example of such a case where she has blood that's Tahar. Ve'ezu, zu. What is this? Kushi b'mei ziva. This is labor during days of ziva that's Tahar, just like the Tara that comes after a birth. 66 days after a birth of Tara. There's also another type of Tara when she's bleeding, and that's bleeding during labor. By the way, the Daf Yomi is not a halacha share, and blood during labor is tamei. But for our discussion here, when we divide up Nidda and Ziva, it would have been a different. How do you know that you're talking about the days of Ziva that she started? Maybe it's the days of Nidda that she started, like we just had a lima. Ella Amar Avua de Shmuel. Did we have Avua de Shmuel before? No. Avua de Shmuel's father. He's actually on the chart.
We live in Eretz Israel.
Not that I know of.
Because it's finished with hay. Avua should be Aleph is Chutz La'aretz. Hay is Eretz Israel, right?
I think Avua is an Aramaic word. You know, a name. I don't know if it's a name. I don't think it's a name.
Avua is Abba.
Right.
Just a thought. I don't know.
No, Avua de Shmuel. I don't know that he lived. He might. I don't know. Okay. Shmuel's father says, "Amakra v'tama shvuayim kinidasa v'leikazivasa." It says that she'll be tummy 2 weeks after she gives birth, kinidasa, as her nida, v'leikazivasa, but not like her ziva. Michlal, the zivasa tar. There must be that there is purity by ziva. Be'ezu zukushu b'mei ziva. This is talking about if there is pain. If there is labor pain during ziva, she's going to be tar. Now it has to do with the pasuk that says dama next to that pasuk, the tamashvaim kinidasa. if that fits. Okay. Bahashta diksiv v'tamashvaim kinidasa damalamali. So now, if you have it so clear that it says that she's going to be tummy during the nida, even if she has labor during the nida, so why do we have to have that whole discussion before in the Bais of Dama? So my answer is, Ilav Dama hava mina kinidasa v'leikizivasa v'afilu b'shufi. I could have thought that if there's relief after the ziva, she's still going to be tahar, and that we don't want to say. So the Dama tells me that the tara blood that comes during labor, that is only if the labor is directly continues on to the birth. But if there's relief between labor and birth, then it's not going to be tara, it's going to be tara.
What is the word shufi?
Shufi means rest.
Rest?
Yeah. The safsa is resting. Kamash Malan comes to teach us that we don't say that, and we say that if there is relief, she's going to be tummy. Okay, now we have a little bit of relief in the following Gemara. For all the hard work, the Gemara treats us to a story.
Story time.
You ready?
Story time, yeah.
No, it's not.
He's happy, it's story time.
Sheila Baravina. I don't see him on the chart, but he's very important here, as you'll see. Abed of the Kavasei de Rav. He was a student of Rav. And he paskin that if a woman saw blood during her labor, that she's tummy for 1 day. That's what Rav said. Rav translated the Mishnah. Amar Rav, Nidda Daf. That's what we learned right at the beginning of our Gemara. Tzuguzun. Kinach nafshe de Rav, when Rav is passing away. Amalela Ravasi. He says to Ravasi. Ravasi should not be confused with Rabami and Rabasi of Tveria, on the chart. It's Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi. This is a Ravasi, which is a student of Rav. Ravasi. Okay? So Rav tells Ravasi, the student, Zil Tanye, go and conceal it. Vilaitzayas Garye. And if he doesn't listen, so convince him. Now, what he's saying is, tell Sheila Baravina that he should stop paskening what I said, that you tummy for 1 day. Actually, you're tired entirely, if it's in days of Ziva. Now, Rav Asi didn't hear when he said Garye. He thought he said Gadye. And they must have had a different race than not the American R. They must have had Gadye. Yeah? Does that make sense in some sort of Sephardic pronunciation?
And what does the words, each of those words mean?
Garye means convince. Like Garye means schlep, to draw him, which means convince. And Gadye means to cut, which means to excommunicate. Right. Excommunicate, cut him off. So that's what he thought. He thought that instead of the soft word, he said, to convince him, he thought he meant if he doesn't listen, you should excommunicate him. Amalei basad denach nafshe de Rav. He told him after Rav died, Gadi Amalei, I'm sorry, Gadi Amalei, come. Basad denach nafshe de Rav, after Rav passed away, Amalei Hadarbach, the Hadarbei Rav, he says, retract, because Rav retracted. He doesn't hold that he's tummy for a day. He holds that he's tired. Amalei, and he said, the Hadarbei, did he have Amalei? I was around Rav. If he really retracted, he would have told it to me. He never told it to me. I don't believe it. Late Sayas, he didn't listen to him. Gadya, he excommunicated him. Amalei, Sheila Baravina tells to Ravasi, list Mistafemar midlekasa, midlekta. Are you not afraid of my fire? In other words, it says Yizar to be careful from Divrei Chachamim because Nechishasa, yeah, their bite is like a scorpion and this and that. Something is like a coal. Anyway, he says, aren't you afraid to start up with me? You can get burnt. Amalei, so he says back, Ana Isi ben Yehuda. My name is Isi ben Yehuda. Who Isi ben Guraye. Yeah. You have to be careful from the coal of the sages, so you don't get burnt, because their bite is the bite of a fox. Their bite is the bite of a scorpion, different types of bites. And Luchishasan is Luchishas Sarah, serpent. And all their words are like Gachleish, or like cold. So he says, I'm not afraid of you because my name is Isi ben Yehuda, that's Isi ben Guraye, Hu Isi ben Gamliel, Hu Isi ben Mahalal. He has a lot of different names. He's going through his whole credit report there. It's, the whole thing. And then each one of them is shows on strength. Asita denachsha. The Leishalit Beirikva. I have a Isi is like a it's like a mortar, the bowl, the bowl of the grinding bowl, the mortar, and that's made out of copper, that does not rot. So I'm not afraid of you. I'm a lev. I know Shili ben Avina, and I'm Shili ben Avina. Buchna de Parzala. How do they translate Buchna de Parzala? What do you have over there? Buchna de Parzala. Iron pestle.
Remind me that my uncle is in this way and this, but two kids fighting. It seems like the same thing.
Yeah, look at this. It's very, very, yeah. The mitbar asita denachsha, that breaks copper mortars. And the only difference is with them, you don't have the end of the story, hopefully. Cholash Ravasi. Ravashi gets sick. Apparently, this wasn't, apparently the iron pestle was pretty strong. Ailu b'chamime yafku mikriri. They brought it. His Ailu means he went into a fever after he came out of a cold. Ailu b'kri yafku michamime. He went cold after he came out of a fever. So this is like the he had this how do they translate it there? They say a fever.
Yeah, the fever, yeah.
Chills and fever. Nach nafshi de Ravasi died. Ozil Sheila. So Sheila goes. Amala de Bisu, he tells to his wife, Tzavasli Zavdasa, prepare the shrouds for me. The Leilezel Valemalei Rav Milei. This is all because he shouldn't tell Rav anything about me because he's gonna go to heaven. Rav already passed away. He's gonna talk to Rav and say, I didn't listen. Rav's gonna say, what are you doing here? He says, well, Sheila Baravina didn't listen. I put him in Cherem, like you said, and now, so Sheila Baravina says, he tells his wife, prepare, because I'm going to have to go up there. So obviously, Zavdasa, they prepared the shrouds, and Nach Nafshe the Sheila, and Sheila passed away. Before the burial, I think, that's what it looks like. Chazud the Parcha Asami, Haiporya. You see that they used to have myrtle hadassim, that you would have at the funeral. They had hadassim. I guess they would put it on the coffin or something. It was jumping from one of the coffins to the other. It probably wasn't a coffin, it was a bed.
One of them passed away, not only one.
They both. Amri, they say, Shema mina of the Rabbanan Paisa. Apparently, the rabbis made peace. Paisa is peace. Like in English. Paisa. Okay. Don't get excited. This was just a short story. Back to work. Okay. Rav asked a question.
Even both of them right, each one in their own way. Machloket is not healthy.
Someone told me he went through a very, you know who it is. He went through a very difficult time with the civil issue. He was not civil. It was he almost ended up in prison. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it was criminal.
Remember that's the criminal.
It was the FBI investigation.
Anyway, I asked him, the experience and all of this. He says he knows why it happened. Like spiritually, he knows why it happened. He said he was on a lot of different boards, schools, different things, and shows. He said they had to make decisions about people in the rabbinate because they were Balabatim were on the board. He said he remembered making decisions about different people. That it was really the board should not be making those decisions. He says he remembers making those decisions, and he felt that that affected the lives of these rabbis that were, I don't know if it was principals or shuls or whatever it was, but
It's the guy from people of that, I'm not mistaken.
I'm not saying anything.
You're saying.
But he told me that you have to be careful. He said he had an experience again, and he was at another sort of board meeting, and he made this like statement. It says this is out of our jurisdiction. Okay. So, Boy Rava has a question. Now, this is it's connected to what we're saying. We said that there's a type of blood that doesn't, that is tahar. There's a type, we know there's dam tayar, but now there's another type of blood that's tahar if it's during labor. Look at this. Kushi mao shetister beziva. Let's say there's a woman that's a zava, and she has to wait 7 clean days. Clean means that there's no blood. But this woman does see blood. But the problem is, the complication is that this blood is not tummy blood. This blood is labor blood. Does it break the ziva? Okay, easy. No, that's end of the Gemara.
That's like you said yesterday. A person has a nosebleed, it's not tummy.
Right.
So if it's
Very good.
blood, it has no effect on anything.
So the Gemara says it like this. The problem is that we learned that Dama Yeledes, the blood itself is tummy. According to, did we say Bais? What did we say? Dama Yeledes, where was that Mishnah? Dama Yeledes. Bais says, the blood itself is tummy. It's just that it doesn't make her tummy. So here it's a little more complex. Do we say anything that's tummy breaks the count of the 7 days and she would need to start over? As if it would be, what does it mean? So, and this would also be metame if it would come during the days of Nidda, I guess, because it depends when it comes. Or do we say davar goyim says I love goyim? This would not cause ziva. This can't cause ziva because it's blood during labor. It doesn't make a person and doesn't make a woman into a zava. So that's his question. This blood that doesn't make her into a ziva, would it break the ziva? Amalei abaya einis beziva yechiach. Let's prove from an einis. Now we're talking about, we're jumping over to a man that if a man sees, has this ziva sort of emission twice, he has to wait 7 clean days as well. Now, if there's any sort of seeing after during those 7 clean days, it breaks the counting. Now, okay, no problem. But those emissions would also cause it. And we're asking, what about something that doesn't cause it? So Abai is telling him, well, what if there's an emission that wouldn't have caused it? Why? Because if there's stimulus, then it wouldn't cause ziva. But nevertheless, the stimulus would break, it's not blood, it's an emission that with stimulus would break the ziva. So you see that if something that doesn't cause it can break it, so here also the blood that wouldn't cause it can break it. Yechiach, that should prove she'ena goyim v'seisa, it wouldn't cause it, but it breaks it. Amalei la'aya, you're right. La'aya means like emes, it's true. However, hainami goyim hu, but that's also a cause. Why? Remember, we had this whole discussion that certain times, 1, 2, the first one, the second one, the third one, sometimes with stimulus, it still gives off the tumah. It depended on, we had a Rav Huna before that discussed this. What was Rav Huna's statement? Ria Rishayna Shalzav Mitama Bainas. The first one gives off tumah. Okay. The Tanan, as was taught in the Mishnah, Ria Rishayna, the first seeing, Bait can I say? You have to check to see if there was stimulus there. Shniya, the second seeing of the emission, Bait can I say? You have to check if there was stimulus. Shlishis, the third one, Ein Bait can I say? You don't have to check. That means that the third one, I guess that brings to a carbon, combines, and you see that that's a cause of the continuation of the ziva, because the first two make him that he has to wait, but the third one is the carbon, and even without stimulus, it's basically it's a cause. So therefore, it makes sense that it should break. The Gemara says, Rabbi Lezer, the Omar, Af b'shlishis bait can I say? What about Rabbi Lezer? He says that even the third one you have to check if there was stimulus, because if there's stimulus, then it doesn't count. So according to him, only something that could cause the ziva could break the ziva. So hachinami kivan legarim leisasar. According to him, you're right. If it doesn't cause it, it doesn't break it. According to Rabbi Lezer. Amalei le Rabbi Lezer hachinami. You're right. That's how it works according to Rabbi Lezer. Because he asked it as a question, he responds, "You're right." That's what Rabbi Lezer would hold. We're not going to go with Rabbi Lezer, so you still don't have a proof. Tashima. Rabbi Lezer, Meraf b'shlishis bait can I say? Even the third one you have to examine. For Rabbi saying bait can I say? But the fourth one you don't have to examine. What's the fourth one? There is no fourth one. One sees there's two istame. The third one is already a carbon. So my love, it must be listira to break the 7 days. The fourth one means that he's already he's already started to count, and the fourth one stops the counting. It says light. What we wanted to say is that you have to examine, that you don't have to examine if there was stimulus in the fourth one. That would mean that only something that could cause, that not only something that could cause could break it, but even something that couldn't cause it would break it. And that's the problem. We just said, according to Rabbi Lezer, that only something that could cause it could break it. So he says, you're actually right, that really to break it, to break the count of 7 days, it would need to have stimulus. It would need to have no stimulus, because it needs something to cause it that could break it. But here we're not talking about that. Here, he said there's a difference between the tumah of shechva zera and the tumah of ziva. Ziva is tamei with lifting it up, even if you don't touch it. But shechva zera is only tamei by touching. So we wanted to see if there's stimulus, then it's going to have that added tumah, but not regarding breaking it. Tashima b'shlishis Rabbi Lezer beit can I say b'rivia saying beit can I say l'karban amarti v'leila stira. He only says that you don't have to check regarding carbon, but not for stira. That's no. The carbon you have to check only for the carbon, not for stira. Rather, according to this, we have a clear proof that according to Rabbi Lezer, it's the opposite. Something that wouldn't cause the ziva, nevertheless breaks the count. However, the Rabbanan mai, but what's going to be according to the Rabbanan? Maybe we should stop over here.
I end this.
Yeah.